This is not a Surrey is bad video. This is a stop buying the wrong version of Surrey for your life. Because when people say they hate Surrey, most of the time it's not the city. It's the product they bought, the building they chose, and the pocket they drifted into. Today, we're doing this properly by product type: condo, townhouse, and detached. And stay till the end because I'm going to be giving you my 4-filter checklist that saves buyers from regret fast. Quick context so we're not guessing. Surrey is a huge market with real differences by product type. January 2026 Fraser Valley Real Estate Board numbers for Surrey: there were 270 sales, 1,407 new listings, and 3,449 active listings. For benchmark prices, detached sat at 1.468 million 500, townhouses at 789,300, and apartments at 480,800. Translation is you have choice, so you can be picky. This is where first-time homebuyers get burned the fastest because listings look identical online, but the building can be the entire story. Here's what to avoid. Avoid the cheapest in the city condos if the building fundamentals are weak. If you want to buy the lowest price just because you want ownership, but the building is underfunded, poorly maintained, or constantly reacting to problems, you're buying a ton of stress. You're not buying flooring, you're buying a system. And if that system is shaky, you pay for it with special levies, rising fees, resale pain, and daily headaches. So how do you spot it without being an expert? Constant patchwork repairs, repeated water issues, big jumps in fees, and a building that feels tired even though the unit's staged pretty nicely. A well-run older building is often safer than a poorly run newer building. Buyers get this backwards all the time. Avoid buying near transit without checking if the area fits your routine. Yes, transit matters. The Surrey Langley SkyTrain project is a 16-kilometer extension of the Expo line from King George Station to 203rd Street in Langley City Centre. 8 stations and 3 transit exchanges. But the trap is buyers buy a map pin instead of a lifestyle. If you're sensitive to noise, hate parking overflow, or want calm evenings, you can absolutely buy close to transit and still be miserable. I always recommend to do a reality test, go at night, park, walk, listen, and if it feels chaotic on a random weeknight, it's not magically getting calmer once you live there. Avoid condos that don't match your car and storage situation. It sounds simple, but it ruins people. 1 stall, 2 cars, no visitor parking, and street parking can become a war. Every single day becomes friction. Same with storage. No locker, tiny closets, bikes in your living room. That turns into I hate where I live. No, you just hate daily friction. Avoid buildings that trap your future flexibility. Even if you plan to live there, think like an investor for 10 seconds. Job changes, relationship changes, kids sooner than planned, or caring for family. Surrey's rental vacancy rate was 1.7% in 2024, and median primary rent has risen from $850 in 2014 to $1,700 in 2024. Translation: rentals and flexibility matters. Avoid buildings with restrictive bylaws that could corner you later if you need to rent. Avoid pretty renos that distract you from risk. Fresh paint, new floors, quartz countertops. None of that matters if the building has recurring issues. Buy fundamentals, not finishes. If you don't know where you're looking at, get guidance. It's cheaper than learning through the pain. So next, we're going to talk about if you're buying a townhouse in Surrey. This is the family sweet spot, and it's also where people get emotional and ignore the mechanics that make daily life either very easy or extremely brutal. Here's what to avoid. Avoid complexes with parking chaos. Do the 7 p.m. weekday test. Again, do a nightly test. If the curbs are packed, guest parking is non-existent, and people are circling, that's your future. This can really suck, for example, when grandparents visit and there's nowhere to park, kids and friends come over, just means more stress overall. You come home late, and it's more frustration. It sounds small until you live it 300 times. Avoid low fees that are low for the wrong reason. Buyers love low strata fees, but low fees can mean underfunded maintenance. Underfunded maintenance becomes special levies. And townhouse levies hurt because roofs, fencing, roads, exterior work, it adds up very quickly. You don't want the lowest fee, you want the healthiest plan. Avoid layouts that don't match family life. A lot of townhouses are 3-bed, but 1 bedroom is barely usable. Or the kitchen could be cramped, no pantry, no drop zone by the front door, awkward stairs, a living room you can't furnish properly, and you tell yourself you'll make it work. Then your home becomes a daily obstacle course. If you're a family buyer, you most likely want a functional entry, a kitchen that works on busy mornings, storage that keeps you sane, and a main floor you can actually live on. Avoid units where sound and privacy will drive you crazy. End unit versus middle can matter. Where the bedrooms sit can matter. And if your kid's room shares a wall with the neighbor's TV room, it's a real quality of life issue. Same for patios that face common walkways where everyone walks past your windows. Buyers ignore this because it's not on the listing sheet, then they feel exposed and annoyed every day. Avoid family-friendly marketing without testing the street. Some areas are calm at 1 p.m. and become cut-through chaos during school rush. You can go at 8 a.m. or go at 3 p.m. If the traffic is non-stop and people speed, that's not really the vibe you want with young kids. Next, we're going to talk about buying a detached home in Surrey. Detached does not automatically mean simple. Detached can hide the most expensive mistakes. Here's what to avoid. Avoid buying in lowland or floodplain areas without understanding the risk. Surrey does have significant lowlands and floodplains protected through river and shoreline dikes. The coastal floodplain stretches from Boundary Bay and Mud Bay along the Nikomeikil and Serpentine rivers towards Cloverdale and Newton. This does not mean never buy there. It means don't buy blindly. Check floodplain info, understand the property's exposure, and ask insurance questions. Be honest about your own risk tolerance. Some families want maximum peace of mind, and others are comfortable if the risk is understood and the property is priced properly. Just decide intentionally. Avoid renovated homes where the bones are old and the systems are unclear. You can renovate a kitchen pretty quickly, but you cannot casually fix drainage issues, foundation issues, old electrical, poor insulation, ventilation problems, or a roof at the end of its life without some serious money. Again, don't fall in love with the finishes, fall in love with a clean inspection and a clear repair timeline. Avoid streets that don't match your lifestyle. If you want quiet, don't buy on a commuter route. If you value privacy, don't buy backing onto constant noise. And if you want your kids outside, don't buy where traffic never stops. Again, focus on the lifestyle, not just the listing photos. You also want to avoid future change surprises. Some buyers love buying near future density and transit because it supports long-term demand. However, some buyers hate construction and constant change. With major transit expansion, areas around stations will evolve. Decide on purpose. If you want stability and quiet, avoid buying too close to intense future change. If you want long-term convenience and demand, lean into it, but don't stumble into either. Avoid detached at any cost if it wrecks your budget. This is where families get trapped. They stretch to detached and then they have no margin, no savings, no flexibility, constant stress. And a lot of the times a smarter move is a townhouse in a strong pocket with some breathing room, because a calm budget is part of a calm life. Now here's a 4-filter checklist. Run this before you buy anything in Surrey. Filter number 1 is the daily loop. Work, school, groceries, gym, family visits. If the loop is annoying, the house isn't going to save it. Filter number 2 is the night test. Go at night, walk the block, look at the lighting and activity. If your gut says no, it's no. Filter number 3 is fundamentals over finishes. For condo and townhouses, that means strata health, maintenance history, contingency planning. And for detached, you're going to be looking at the inspection, the systems, and the repair timeline. Fundamentals decide stress, not a backsplash. Filter number 4 is the exit plan. If you had to sell in 3 years, who buys this? If you had to rent it, who rents it? You're buying flexibility, not a floor plan. To wrap things up, you don't need to avoid Surrey. You need to avoid the wrong product in the wrong pocket for your lifestyle. And if you want my help narrowing it down fast, just text me at 604-288-7592. Tell me what you're buying, your budget, and where you work, and I can give you a short list of what to avoid based on your situation. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.